friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks workshop with a video on our sawmill today. This is a homemade sawmill that I built a few years ago. We have sawn quite a bit of lumber with it. It works surprisingly well, really. It's not for high production use. You would work yourself to death if you tried to make a living with it. It's for sawing the occasional log here and there that we cut on the farm that we just need some lumber. What I like to saw best is the cedar, because the cedar is a softer wood here and it saws real easy on the sawmill. The oak is quite a bit harder to saw. The reason I got the sawmill out to begin with is my brother was bringing 2 oak logs. Like we don't have enough oak here on the farm. But he cut these down in his yard and he wanted to saw them up and make something out of them because they came out of his yard. So I understand that type of sentiment. I'm kind of that way myself. So that's what you're going to see is we're going to saw a little bit of cedar. We're going to saw a little bit of oak. First, I thought I'd just set the tone of the whole video for you. This sawmill had been neglected. I built it a few years ago. I used it, my son used it, and my son cut a lot of lumber to build a small barn. And I'll try to give you a still picture of the barn that we can include in the video here. After that, it just sat out in the rain, and the rain got into the winch, froze the winch and busted it, created several other little problems. The fuel lines were clogged up, all kinds of issues. So after we got through all the cleanup and issues and re-welding this and that broke, etc. and so forth, it actually worked really well. There's 2 or 3 things that you're going to notice that people always comment on the video and complain about, and that is, number 1, it doesn't have a guard. I am about 3 to 4 feet behind it. I know it doesn't have a guard, and therefore I'm extra cautious. The blade has come off a time or two since I built it, and when it does, it just rolls down the hill. It's not like a big deal. I mean, it seriously doesn't bother me at all when it comes off, because it's not going to hurt anybody as long as you don't let anybody get in harm's way, and I don't. It didn't come off during this whole process at all, and we sawed 6 logs with it, and and sawed them very well, and everything worked fine. So from the safety standpoint, you can scream at me all you want, but it's fine. Second thing that people will get on me about is it doesn't have a water drip system, and it does actually have one, and I have actually used it, and I prefer using it dry. It seems to cut better to me dry than it does when it's wet. When you wet it down, that sawdust sticks to everything, seems to clog up more stuff, creates more problems than it fixes, in my opinion. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It cuts perfectly fine dry, and people say the blade gets hot. The blade doesn't get hot at all, not even a little bit warm. As soon as you get done cutting, you can put your hand right on the blade and you can't even feel any warmth in the blade at all. So, a lot of the stuff is just myths and passed down and perpetuated, and it's just not true. It doesn't need the water. Most of the logs that you saw are green, and if they're green especially, they got tons of water in them. There's no need to put water in there. I mean, a circular saw at a sawmill doesn't put water in there, so, at least the ones I've seen, they don't. I'm sure there's probably some out there that do. Point being, I don't have any problem with that, so if I don't have a problem, I don't try to fix a problem that I don't have. The third thing that people get on me about is the wiggle waggle in this thing. It does have that. As you're pushing it down, it'll do this. It just does. And, it's probably a design error on my part, but I can't fix it. I've put cross braces in there. I've tried to do that. But the thing is, you can't just put a cross brace in there because your log goes through there. So, you got to be careful where you put your cross brace or your log's going to hit it. Also, you can't put the cross brace up high because the thing goes up and down, the motor will hit it. So cross bracing it isn't as easy as it sounds. I probably should have just made the frame beefier, but it seems to work just fine. Even with the little wiggle waggle, that doesn't go up and down, so it's just cutting on the same plane even with the wiggle waggle. It doesn't seem to hurt anything. The boards come out just really very accurate. As a matter of fact, that's one thing I'm very proud of on this sawmill. It's incredibly accurate. If you move it 1 inch, exactly 1 inch on the ruler, you're going to get a 7/8 inch board. Now, why is that? Because you got to allow for your 1/8 inch cutout of your blade. And I mean, they're exactly 7/8 of an inch. So in other words, if you want a full inch, you just move it 1 1/8 inches and you got a full inch board. So as long as you take into account that extra 1/8 of an inch for your blade, it cuts amazingly accurate. I mean, it's really very surprising how accurate it cuts. So that part is really good. The flatness is really good. Everything about it's really good, except that it's just a homemade sawmill for lightweight use. Some questions I always get on it that I thought I'd just answer up front is, it's a 16-inch sawmill. I wanted to make it bigger, but I made the frame ahead of time thinking that I could put any size wheel on it I wanted. If I went to the next larger wheels, things didn't line up well at all, motor-wise, and just issues with the way I built it. So I had to go to the 16-inch wheels. I'll tell you the truth, the 16-inch wheels seem perfectly fine for my use. I got the wheels off of eBay somewhere. I don't even remember, 2 or 3 years ago. You can just search for that on there. They're just large V-belt pulleys is really all it amounts to. And you put a V-belt on there that's slightly loose, and that V-belt just spins on there as that's your tread, basically. Other questions I get are like on the winch system. It's turning 2 threaded rods, and those threaded rods turn at the top. There's a chain up there with a winch, and it turns those 2 threaded rods simultaneously. It raises and lowers the whole thing. It works really good on that. It's a little bit slow, especially on the way up. It seems to take forever because you got to raise it up to the height of your log. On the way down, you're only going 1 inch at a time. It seems pretty quick, actually. It could be made better, there's no question. The winch just came from Harbor Freight. It's a 2,500-pound UTV winch. The motor, I believe, is called a Duramax. I think that's what it's called, and I just got it off of eBay, I believe. It's an 18-horse motor with the electric start. And it was only like $319. To me, that was a no-brainer. So the battery doesn't seem to stay charged, so I do have to charge the battery in the off time. The battery is just a lawnmower battery, and it seems to last several logs worth, and it'll start the motor and do several logs before you start having trouble. Toward the very end of the video, I actually had to put my little jump box up there to move the thing down. The battery was that dead. It wouldn't have been, except somebody unplugged the charger. Just my typical luck. There's always something that happens around here. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I think you'll see that it does work really well, and we got some really nice lumber out of this. Hello friends, Jerry Rosa here, just outside the Rosa String Works workshop, with a different type of video for you today, one that people have been asking for the last couple of years, more on the sawmill. As you can probably see, I have the sawmill loaded up right back here, and I've got a cedar log on there. It's one of the smaller of the cedar logs I have here. So I've got 4 of them to saw up. The reason I'm getting this out and sawing is because my brother is going to be here with a few oak logs that he wants to saw. And these oak logs are more of a sentimental thing than anything. He cut them off his property and he wants to make something out of them. So I told him he could use my sawmill to saw them up. But I had to get the sawmill tuned up. I think it's ready to go, but all of that is a big I think, because none of it's been proven yet. I haven't started it yet. I haven't done anything in terms of cutting, lumber with it in a long time. Let's get started and see if we can get the motor to start and see if it'll work. I truly don't know. First thing I got to do is secure the log. Okay, so the log is fairly secure. We're just going to see if we can take a nice slim cut off the top. That part worked. I didn't even know if it would start. Now I will try to raise this up. I haven't even tried this yet either, and the battery may not be strong enough. I don't know. Uh-oh. Got problems. It's just clicking, it's not moving at all. So something's wrong. I don't know if it's the winch. Oh, I know what it is. I can already tell the winch is bad. It's been sitting out in the rain and the winch has frozen and busted. I can already see it. I didn't even think to check that. We'll have to try something else. Bummer. A new winch and 2 hours later and we're ready to try it again. Yeah, it sat out in the rain and the winch just got bad, and you know, my own fault for not taking better care of it, but that's the price you pay sometime. Are you kidding me?
Out of gas?
No, I don't know what it is. Now it's probably some other stupid thing, or maybe the choke's still on. I'm paying the price. Had fuel line clogs, everything else. So we got past that now. Now it seems to be running. I think it might work this time.
Me, his song got under my skin. He held me, he knew me over again. He moved me, he knew that he had. How can I find words for that? He got me just like the north wind. Left me with nowhere to begin.
Runner.
He moved me, I know that he did. How can I find words for him?
To actually making boards out of the log now, so we're just gonna keep filming and just slabbing it off of here, I hope. I gotta set the first initial height first, and I'm gonna go a little bit high first. It's almost spring now, I'm silent. I'll get to summer somehow. He moved me, he knew that he had. How can I find words for that? He got me just like the north wind. To begin, oh, he moved me. I know that he did. How can I find words for him?
Hitting that, I'm looking at it, it ain't hitting it.
Little design defect here. It just grazed the top of this pipe. Bummer. And it won't fall down through there like the other one. So yeah, I got it unscrewed. Oh well, stuff happens.
Well, there you go. That dulled the blade on the bottom side, so only the top was cutting, so it cut up. So, you know, that's the way stuff happens. I should have just put a new blade on. I knew once you hit metal, you're kind of messed up with these things. It ain't a perfect world, and it ain't a perfect saw, and I'm not a perfect person. So there you go. All together, you get imperfect lumber, but it's still better than no lumber. This one here is a nice one. If you're building a barn on a hillside, you can start with this down on the lower side, you know, and it'll be level then. It can be salvaged. It's not a big deal. That board there is perfectly fine. We just plane it out and no problem. But we will have to change the blade, so we'll be back shortly. Considering all the trouble we had to start with, I'm pretty happy with the way it's working so far. Kind of shows it off there. You can see it. It's really pretty wood.
Quarter sawn.
This piece is quarter sawn. You can tell by the little, what I call checking in there. I know there's another name for it, like medullary or something like that.
Medullary rays or quarter sawn or tiger stripes.
There's a bunch of names, but anyway, I just call it quarter checking there, and it's pretty cool. Pretty nice lumber. The little sawmill that can.
Well, my friends, it's the next day. I thought I would saw some more of my cedar. Finished sawing the red oak logs for my brother yesterday, but then it was so hot that we just quit. And I didn't get back to the cedar, but it's bright and early the next morning. It's about 7 a.m. So it's cool out here right now, and I'm going to try to get the majority of these cedar logs sawn before it gets too hot.
So I thought I'd give you this perspective on the sawmill, since I haven't shown it from the backside. And you can kind of see how far away I am from the blade, which also should ease your mind that I'm not going to get cut in this thing. But hopefully this thing will start this morning. The battery charger was taken off prematurely last night by someone who I have no idea why. But I expected it to still be on there this morning, and when I got here it was already unplugged. And I know no one's been here this morning, so it had to have been unplugged last night. So here we go. We'll see if it starts.
Leaving is the only way. I know that is true. But no matter where I go, there's a memory of you. 'Cause how do you take a memory and put it away for good? Somehow I can't forget them all, though the good Lord knows I should. cry sometimes, even though I'm happier now. 'Cause even when I'm with someone else, you're always there somehow. 'Cause how do you take a memory and put it away?
Well, the battery's not very strong on this, so it's taken longer than usual to move the blade. I notice I've got my guide roller set too wide, so I'm loosening it up here, and I'm going to move the guide rollers so that I can get them a little bit closer. Small boards. Those boards are still fairly wide. They're probably 6 inches wide, so they look small on camera, I'm sure, but they're pretty good sized boards. 1x6s is what I'm sawing here.
Way for good. Somehow I can't forget them all, though the good Lord knows I should. You take a memory and put it away for good. Somehow I can't forget them all, though the good Lord knows I should. 'Cause how do you take a memory and put it away for good? Somehow I can't forget them all, the good Lord knows I should.
Well, the last board's going to be about 1.25 inches, or well, maybe even 1.5 inches. This is these are all 1-inch boards. It's a small log, and we still got a lot of lumber out of it. Good usable lumber. So out of that little tiny log, we still got 9 real good boards, and those are 6 inches wide, and they're all 1 inch thick. And then I could, if I really wanted to, I could go to these slabs right here, and I could actually saw out another 1-inch board out of one of them anyway. Now I've got to saw up those 2 logs over there, and the small one over on the left, I'm going to make just a 6-inch square fence post out of it. I think I'll do it next and show you what that looks like. We're going to go ahead and try to saw this post up now. Again, I'm just going to make a 6x6, 7x7, whatever I can get out of it. And I've got it kind of leveled up there. There's a knot on the back side, on the bottom side there, that holds it up about where the center is about equal from one end to the other. So that's close enough.
Searching for that sunny spot somewhere, but all I can find is rain. The place I've been sure wasn't sunny, but man, it sure was blue. Been all around this wide world, and there ain't no friend like you. No.
I just put the big log on there with the bobcat. I thought I had the camera on, but you can't see it out here in this sun, so I couldn't tell. But apparently not. This is a much bigger log. Pretty good size at one end anyway. But you can still slide it fairly easy on these steel cross members here. I'm gonna have to raise this end up to get it approximately on center. So I'm gonna do some of that work off camera.
Well, he took me gigging and he took me fishing. We went swimming in the pond. My friend, he made me laugh and smile and said, "Where you been so long?" Well, I don't know that I can say, but I can try to explain. I've seen more than I care to see. I don't know where I'm gonna stay. The place I've been sure wasn't sunny, but man, it sure was blue. Been all around this wide world, and there ain't no friend like you. No, there ain't no friend like you. The place I've been sure wasn't sunny, but man, it sure was blue. Been all around this wide world, and there ain't no friend like you. No, there ain't no friend like you. No, there ain't no friend like you.
Well, my friends, I hope you enjoyed the look at the sawmill and the lumber that we sawed with that sawmill. I enjoy using the sawmill, but that's about enough of that vacation time because I have to get back to building and repairing musical instruments. Thanks for watching. If you're not yet subscribed, please click the subscribe button. I would appreciate it. And if you don't mind, how about clicking that thumbs up button? It sure helps us out. Thank you.